Hey guys, Ron here, and once again I'm going to be creating randomly generated Pokemon. I'm going to use an online generator to give me a random animal and Pokemon type combination, and then I'll have to try my best to make a coherent and semi-realistic Fakemon. Make sure to check the previous parts, because there were some fan-favorite Fakemon made in those videos. Let's begin. Okay, let's generate an animal. Seems like the simplest thing you can do is just pressing a button. Let's go. Okay, that's a very funny picture of a pufferfish. As long as it's something completely new, maybe we can do it. As long as it's not like a water poison type. What type do we generate? Fairy psychic pufferfish. Say that 5 times fast. Fairy psychic pufferfish. Fairy psychic pufferfish. You can't. Whatever. Fairy psychic pufferfish. Okay, that's actually not bad. I can make this levitating ball that heals. This levitating ball. It's just a levitating ball. That's not bad. I've made a lot of levitating balls in my lifetime. Like when you're a kid, you don't have much of imagination. You just make some levitating ball Fakemon. I really did. I made some levitating ball Fakemon. Now there are a lot of different kinds of pufferfish. I mean, I'm gonna just make this angry guy. I mean, he's not gonna be angry, but he's more like intelligent. He's a psychic type. He can float. He levitates. But like, it makes sense. Like these things blow up like a balloon and float. But this time it floats literally just because of psychic powers. It floats around. It's like this menacing thing that floats around. Like, it looks angry, but it's actually a nice dude. It's healing, but it doesn't like to be bothered while it's healing. It just does its thing. I like this personality. I just want to make sure that it's not too similar to Overquill. It'll be tough to make it not look like this, because that is the face I want to give it, like this angry face. You know, Overquill's pretty cool. Whatever, let's try to make ours cooler. So I lied. I'm not going to make this fish angry, because that's literally Overquill and Quillfish in general. I want to make this somewhat original. You see, pufferfish aren't actually spiky. Those are porcupine fish, which are closely related, so it'll be tough giving it any notable features other than being inflated. I'll give it these cosmic moon-shaped eyes, and it'll be smiling. This thing is happy and full of oxygen and nature energy. I decided to make its fin look like the rings of a planet, and began to take inspiration from stars and planets. This thing will float around like a celestial body. It'll have a star-shaped patterns, specifically one on its forehead like a third eye. But then I realized how bland its shape was, and to make it look more like a sun, I caved in and gave it spikes. At this point, it looked too much like a quillfish, so I decided to make it a quillfish. I redid it from scratch and refined it a bit. It'll be the colors of space with translucent fins, a very believable regional form, I'd say. Behold, Quillfish, the balloon Pokemon, a fairy psychic type. It inhales air to inflate itself and propels its body through various landscapes using its telekinesis and mastery of nature energy. At night, it will patiently float through forests and fields, absorbing toxins and healing life. It loves its self-appointed job and is very pleasant to be around, but it will get angry and attack those that impede its work. It will let out a blast of concentrated nature energy from its mouth. This deflates Quillfish, however, for a short period of time. No one knows if this Quillfish is actually related to those from Johto, or if they are convergent species that came from space. It has the abilities Levitate, Serene Grace, and the hidden ability Telepathy. It has a signature move called Nature Blast. It deals 100 damage, but it can't be used in succession and lowers its defenses for 1 turn. I'm very glad with how this turned out. I don't know why I was afraid of making it a regional form instead of a completely original Pokemon, because it works really well. It's a Pokemon I'd love to train and become friends with. I know it's more of a porcupine fish than a pufferfish, but those are way more interesting looking with the types I randomly generated. Okay. Generating a Pokemon. I have nothing to say. A Zonkey? That's a thing? Makes sense. I would assume they could breed, but hopefully the type is something that makes sense. Dragon Zonkey. Let me look at a Zonkey. I mean, they look mythical like a dragon. Are there horse dragons in mythology? Horse dragon. I mean, I guess a Killin is basically a horse dragon. Am I just making a Kirin Pokemon? Based on a Zonkey. But like, a cuter one. Like one that isn't imposing. So I'm taking inspiration from various ungulates for the body, but it'll get closer to a zebra as I go along. For now, it'll look like a deer, but I gotta Zonkey it up soon. Now it's looking more horse-like. I'll begin to sketch in the Killin mane, maybe something majestic and wild, like it hasn't grown into its mane yet. Some hair on its back that looks like a reptilian spikes. Now I'm refining the body before adding the stripes. They both look like zebra stripes, but are in the shape of scales. The color is what is going to sell the draconic look. Blue and orange, as all things should be. Turquoise and orange, as all things should be. I didn't add a horn, so it wouldn't look too much like Keldeo or Galarian Ponyta, so I added 2 horns in the final design. Here is Zonkirin. The natural Pokemon, a pure dragon type. Zonkey walks through fields without disturbing the grass. Nothing it steps on is ever trampled. It is able to walk on water and protect itself by kicking its foes. Whatever its horns touch becomes purified. It can only be captured by using magic or the cold, and it will only attack those with wicked hearts unless it's to protect those it loves. They can spout flames from their mouths, and wild Pokemon don't dare getting on Zonkeren's bad side as they risk annihilation when this Pokemon evolves. It has the abilities Natural Cure, Hustle, and Sap Sipper. I imagine that it evolves into a one-horned dragon creature, more like an adult Kirin. Perhaps I'll create its evolved form and regional Quillfish's evolution in a later video. It was super tough not making it look like Galarian Ponyta or Blitzel. That's why it has 2 horns instead of 1. Generating a Pokemon, hopefully it doesn't disappoint me, I want to love it. Toucan! Okay, we have a Toucan Pokemon obviously, and maybe we can make one that's a little bit more interesting, although I've grown to love Toucanon. Maybe something more elemental? Let's find out. Generating. Flying Steel! Okay! Okay! We can do that! Flying Steel Toucan! Thank God we got Flying, that's pretty easy. This is easy. It's actually a little too easy that it's like, it's not too fantastical. Let's just try to make it not look like a Corviknight, I guess. Or a Skarmory. This guy's gonna have a big metal beard. Beard? Big metal beak. Okay, this is actually a pretty good idea, because I've done this when I was a child. I made like a steel bird that had a long beak that shot like steel eggs. Steel eggs! Yeah, instead of nuts, they eat literal metal nuts. Like the tool that you use. Nuts and bolts. They eat nuts and bolts. Wait, do they eat nuts? Yeah, they eat fruits, but will occasionally eat, insects and even smaller birds. Toucans eat anything, so it makes sense that they'd eat nuts and bolts. Let's go! So now I'll be fighting for my life out here, trying to make sure this Pokemon doesn't end up looking too much like Toucanon. We'll start off with a Toucan, but I'll make the base of its beak connect around its eyes like a metal mask that covers its face. I decided to give it some ornamental feathers, which gave me the idea to base it on Mayan gods, so feather crowns and various swirls were appropriate. It'll have various metallic jewelry and plates attached to its body, but I'm trying not to over-design it. It has wings, just like you expected, but what you may not have expected was this dark green color scheme instead of mostly black. It makes this dude look ancient and intimidating. God, did that spice things up. The colors made me fall in love with this thing too. Beware Ramfasin, from Ramphastos, the genus of typical toucans and the family toucans belong to, and fasten, like the metallic armor that is fastened onto it. Ancient civilizations would use Ramfasin for combat, while modern Ramfasins are more tame and friendly than ancient ones. They're still instinctively aggressive and skilled in battle. They can be relaxed 1 minute and fully alert the next. Their feathers are incredibly dense, their beak is harder than steel, and their talons can pierce rock. Wild Ramphastos will follow the orders of those with larger head feathers. They're able to lay eggs coated in various metals. They will shoot these eggs in battle, and use their beaks to pulverize nuts and bolts. They can absorb iron to fortify their beak and armor. They have the abilities Battle Armor, Sheer Force, and Sturdy. I was worried about this Pokemon the most because the concept was originally too similar to Toucanon, and I didn't want to make 2 regional forms. But once I took Mayan inspiration and added this beautiful color scheme, this became one of my favorite Pokemon I made this year. Once again, it's time to generate an animal. That was like the 6th time I tried to say that sentence because I keep on saying generating a Pokemon instead. Let's go. We already did this. We already did Seacow in the first one? We already did Seacow in this exact series. We're not doing another one. Let's go. We literally just did a Zonkey. Literally the father or the mother, I don't know which one has to give birth to the Zonkey. I assume the bigger one. I'm sorry. Like, you guys can get that. Come on. That is literally the closest animal to the previous animal that we just did. Oh, a Binturong! I know of this thing. It smells like popcorn. Binturong. I mean, are we just gonna make us popcorn-smelling Pokemon? That's just a cliche. We have to think of something that really other Fakemon artists probably haven't done. Well, I guess it'll depend on the type that we generate, now that I think of it. Almost forgot that. Let's go! Okay, electric Binturong. So this guy zips and zaps. So these animals use their tails to communicate. I mean, that sounds like electric-type Pokemon that use their electricity to communicate, so it'll use its electric tail to communicate. It's shy but aggressive when harassed. Sounds like an electric type to me. It'll literally balance on its tail to appear threatening. That, again, sounds like a thing that an electric type would do, like balance on its tail. I can see Pikachu grounding its tail into the ground. I think I'm up to the challenge. I mean, I have to. That's literally the video. I set myself up. So I decided that I'll make this Binturong look like a mad scientist who constantly blows up its experiments with electricity. I gave it thunder whiskers and eyebrows. I was very adamant about this DreamWorks raised eyebrow look, so I kept it until the very end, but took it out in the final design because it made this Pokemon look a little too intelligent and cartoony. Its body makes it look a bit crazy, and its ears look like wild Einstein hair, but I thought its features were a bit too soft and rounded, so I began to redo the design with more jagged and spiky edges. The dude is staticky and not in the right mind, so I'm just adjusting a bunch until I find the correct proportions. The colors help emphasize the typing, but a dark blue coat ain't too far from the dark coat of real Binturongs. It actually looks like the natural color scheme of a Pokemon. This is Binturific, the inquisitive Pokemon, a pure electric type. Binturific are highly intelligent but egotistical. They will impose their standards and will on others. They love experimenting and will zap anything they find with electricity to see how it will react. They're overzealous with their electricity and will occasionally burn or even blow up their experiments. The more excited they are, the more electricity they release. They're impatient as a result of their ability to process information 10 times faster than the average Pokemon, but they often overthink their actions, which results in them being slow to actually act. They often smell like burnt popcorn. They'll make nests up in trees where they store materials for experiments. They communicate the information they have learned with other Binturong by touching their tails together and converting their thoughts into electricity. They have the abilities Static, Volt Absorb, and hidden ability Electric Surge. This was a super tough Pokemon to design since most people aren't familiar with the physical attributes of Binturongs, but in the end their whiskers were very helpful in adding lightning patterns that matched the other electric type patterns on its body. I originally wanted it to look more eccentric, but then it made it look too humanoid. But in the end, I found a happy medium between intelligent and animal-like. So if you're happy with the outcome as well, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to check out the previous art videos and randomly generated Pokemon videos too. Consider becoming a patron or clicking the join button to get cool rewards like seeing my videos days early and a huge discount on the t-shirts I made for you guys. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram where I will post the full art of these Pokemon too. Bye!